Sarah Brodie for the Toronto Art Therapy Institute. Psychodynamic issues in theory and practice. Art therapy, case example number 3, office space. So in this example, this is my current training case. So very, very fresh material. And please let me kind of make a disclaimer that I'm speaking from trying to give you a short and sweet case vignette and trying to give it some spontaneity by speaking unscripted. If I was to go for my case notes, it would be, I think, too much information, and I will answer questions as we discuss these cases in our forum and give you perhaps more information about what happened next, as well as my own interpretations of some of what happened in the vignettes that I am sharing with you. And as I'm sure you're experiencing with other classes, this modality of teaching from clinical experience is foundational to learning this work. I'm both in my art therapy training and my current training, psychodynamic psychotherapy. My teachers speak off the top of their head about case examples that arise in their teaching, and they're very frequently from that week and also very unscripted. So I wanted to share with you that same way of learning that I'm experiencing, and has been helpful for giving me these little beads of these little pictures of what this work feels like and looks like from the inside. So this one is very current. This is a training case that I'm working on right now. This is a 15-year-old girl, and we're at an impasse. The therapy is not moving. She's not coming. She is canceled a number of times, and I'm waiting for her to pick back up again, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that she does, because I'm 5 hours short of my requirements to use this as a training program, a training case. So, it's interesting when we're students, and I'll just throw this in because I think it's pertinent that there are specific issues of countertransference that get involved when it's a training case and when you have vested interests as a student, as there are other different issues that impact the frame of therapy when you work in different settings altogether. So in this case, we have a 15-year-old girl. She sought therapy. It was a self-referral. Her mother brought her in to see me because she was having a lot of emotions related to her relationship with her father, who is estranged and has been separated. Her parents have been separated since she was a baby. And her mother's fear was that her relationships with men would be impacted going into her adolescence by her feelings towards her father. The girl's reason for self-referral was to try and reconnect with her father. And I did a lot of work towards trying to engage him in the therapy process, which he did to some degree, but probably about the same degree that he gets involved or not involved in things in general for her, which isn't very much. And in this vignette, this particular sort of thread of the therapy that I want to give you, which is this impasse where I'm at now, I wanted to tell you about, and I have to say this is something I've spent a lot of time in supervision discussing, so it's not as raw as some of the other case material, but it's that she has moved 15 times in her life. So she's 15 years old, so a lot. And I just moved to where I'm living now, and I sought an art therapy office that I rented part-time. And something surprising happened there. And I'm sharing it with you because you never know what to expect when you set up what you feel like is a good clean frame in starting therapy, setting boundaries, setting a time, outlining confidentiality. And in the third session with this girl, the mother found out that there was a reception position available at the office kind of clinic that I was renting from, and applied and got that job. She doesn't work there now, so but at the time she got this job and started working at the same site that her daughter was going to be receiving therapy, which you can bring into the forum discussion what the conflict of interest was, in my opinion, because I remedied that by seeking out a second office space where I only saw this girl. And again, she moved with her family, and in this case, just she and her mom. She's an only child. She moved to an apartment with that joined her to her mother's boyfriend's family. So they became a blended family where she had one stepsister and lived with her mother, her mother's boyfriend, his daughter, and herself. So they were 4. And this is the first time that she had lived in a blended family. So I also had moved out of the office space and had a special place where I just met with her, as I said, and we continued to meet week after week. And that was very productive therapy, some of which you'll hear about in another case vignette. And then I moved again. I moved to find a better office space where I wasn't, afraid of the kind of, not great boundary setting for psychotherapy that I was encountering in the place that I was working prior. And that was not with other psychotherapists, mind you. They were other kinds of health practitioners, and ran the business in a different way than would a psychotherapist. And it wasn't a fantastic match. So I had been looking for my own full-time space and found it. And it happened that I lined up to move into my new office right around the same time, a little while after she had moved into her new home. And it was that new office that started, she'd never missed a session. She'd never been late for 40 sessions. And then as soon as I moved into my new office, the cancellation started, and now we're at this impasse. So I leave it to you to play with that and see what you make of it.